Welcome back to World View, focusing on the political situation here at home and in Mombasa. The ODM primaries are about to take place in 5 counties in the coast. Today were cancelled with no reason for the cancellation. In studio with us for this conversation, political analyst Joseph Kioko. Many thanks for joining us once again. We had interrupted you earlier, but we're beginning in Mombasa and the reason as to why the primaries could have been cancelled.
First, thank you for hosting us here. I think it's more administrative than political malice.
Right.
What happened initially is when Parliament passed this law stopping party hopping, a lot of responsibility was placed on political parties to get their party nominations correct. Members have paid, MPs have paid nomination fees, aspirants have paid nomination fees, and the only logical thing that they expect from political parties is a fair process, or a process that is seen to be fair. Now, if there's a feeling that logistical issues might interfere with the delivery of the election materials, polling stations have not been secured, having come from a long break of Easter, and all those kinds of dynamics, then the party is in its correct sense to postpone, and if they all agreed with the aspirant. But I think the reason to postpone is more about wanting to get it right. You see, ODM has a history of not getting it right in party nomination.
Right. I mean, even with the ones that we've seen.
The ones that I've seen. So this is truly an attempt in an area that they know has a major political leaning towards the general election. If they get it wrong, the supporters of ODM might easily go towards the Jubilee side. So there is a tricky balancing act here that they want to achieve, and you can see that truly they are focused on getting it right.
Right. But what really is at stake in the coastal region? 5 counties will be taking part in those nominations on the 22nd of April, that is Saturday. But Mombasa County specifically has a lot at stake. What do we expect?
Both parties within the NASA coalition chose to go and fight it to the election. I mean, the Secretary General of WIPA,
ODM and WIPA.
ODM and WIPA. The Secretary General of WIPA was given a direct ticket, and he's there, and he's doing his thing. The Deputy Party Leader of ODM was also given a direct ticket. So you can see this is going to be a titanic battle between WIPA and ODM within the NASA coalition. I think they were not able to talk any one of them to step aside. So let's see how it goes. But the bigger picture is not Mombasa only. It is in the county of Kwale. It is in Kilifi. It is in Taveta. It is in Lamu. How ODM, how NASA, the parties within the NASA coalition organize the nomination is going to give a greater direction in the general elections that come.
Right.
If you get it wrong now, dissatisfied candidates will easily jump.
All right, so let's focus on that because since they began last week, ODM has been getting it wrong for the most part. WIPA Party began its nominations yesterday in several counties, among them Taita Taveta County. And it also reported the same situation, same complaints of which voters register to use, the party register or the IBC register. There was also allegations of voter rigging. So in the counties that ODM has already conducted its nominations, those that have been described as bungled, what is really the state of mind of the ODM supporters in those regions? I
think first you need to look at party strongholds, parties' analysis of regions. Interesting. There are regions where the party considered its bedrock support.
Right.
Those are the green zones. Irrespective of the nominations are conducted, the political party feels we can make few mistakes, but we still have our core supporters. Right. They don't move away. There are regions which are neutral. And these neutral regions is where you need to perfect the nomination.
Being described as the battlegrounds. The
battlegrounds, so the battlegrounds. You must look at them and hold fair nomination because those battlegrounds can swing either way. Now, you look in the case of Taveta for WIPA, they have to perfect it because it's a battleground for both NASA, in the parties within NASA. And the problem has also been that these parties within NASA started their nomination way earlier than Jubilee. Yeah, so you find that there are aspirants who are there and they're shaky. You saw what happened to Dr. Naomi Shaban.
Right.
Yeah, having a sense that she's being kicked out, and she's been a stalwart in the Jubilee Party and has always stood with President Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, it is the realization that political parties might not conduct fair nominations, and they do not have the capacity. The question of party register, for example, while the Political Parties Act, amended act, provided for party members to vote in party nominations, political parties have not been able to create a register of their own.
Right.
And they cannot go to IEBC and ask IEBC to give them the party register or the elected members, the registered people as at the last registration point. Because IEBC list of registered voter is yet to be cleansed. If today IEBC gave them a register of 14 million or 16 million, included amongst it is people who need to be expunged. And then when it comes to the general election, you find IEBC is using a voter roll of 12 million. Somebody can easily read malice. So IEBC cannot provide that register to political parties to use as a basis of people voting. Now, parties never got their registers correct. That's the 2 point. Whatever we go back, forth, we try to analyze this issue. Political parties didn't get their party registers correct.
Right.
Jubilee didn't, ODM didn't, Wiper didn't.
All right. Let's focus on just the contest within the NASA affiliate parties themselves. Like now, Wiper Party and ODM Party carrying out their nominations in Mombasa. The issue of Governor Joho and Senator Omar Hassan running for the same seat, both of them within NASA. I mean, in terms of dividing the numbers and support, is it something that is likely to not work in favor of NASA at the end in terms of fallouts and members also defecting to other parties?
I think we need to look at it interestingly. I don't think the presidential vote, the NASA presidential vote is affected. I don't think it's affected because these are people, the two candidates are going to mobilize their core base to support them as they support the presidential candidate. So the rivalry between Hassan Omar and Hassan Joho truly has a positive effect at the presidential level.
Right.
At the personal level, at the individual contest level, they both have core constituents because what Joe comes with is half of Mijikenda vote, plus the Luo community vote, which is a strong backhold.
Right.
What Hassan comes with is half of the traditional Mijikenda vote, because it's Hassan Sarai, plus the block that is the Kamba vote in there. So then they will all be fishing on other tribes to get votes within themselves.
Right.
So amongst themselves, it's how they organize their political campaign. It has the net effect, presidentially, is that there'll be a higher turnout to come vote for either of the two candidates. Either the NASA presidential candidate will stand to benefit more. At individual level, a small percentage might vote for the Jubilee candidate.
All right, so it's a very high-stakes game. In the
High-stakes.
coast. We will be having Ben Kitili, who is at the coast, just in a few moments, bring us up to date with what's going on. But we cannot fail to preempt on the Jubilee nominations, which are set for Friday this week. And all the nominations in all the counties will be held in one day. The question is, how is Jubilee going to pull this massive miracle? As it is, we've already seen Jubilee aspirants up in arms with allegations of kidnapping, allegations of assassination attempts, and this is within the Jubilee party. So in terms of preparing for the nominations, what are we expecting?
I think we are looking for a lot. We're expecting a lot from Jubilee party. We're expecting a lot from our political parties. Whatever chaos we saw in Busia in ODM, expect a replica of the same in Kiambu. Expect a replica of the same in Muranga, in the traditional strongholds of Jubilee, which is Rift Valley and Central.
Right. We've put the ODM disciplinary committee on the spot of failing to contain the aspirants who are rogue and are causing violence and whatnot. In the case of Jubilee, this will all be happening on the same day, all of these counties. Do you have faith in the disciplinary committee that they will be able to handle the situation?
I think they're different. You're comparing apples and oranges. Because while ODM does not have state security and state machinery to assist it in monitoring and dealing with incidences of violence, Jubilee can easily lean back on state machinery. It can easily have the police machinery politely assisting them in maintaining law and order. You can easily have the county administration, not county government, but the county officers and commissioners who are there assisting in some of these things. Of course, they will say they are not being assisted, but it's the government of the day. The party primaries, and Uhuru is keen, President Uhuru is keen on showing that Jubilee is organized, and it wants to deliver a credible nomination process. That's his vision.
Right.
So that when he stands on the podium campaigning, he'll have one thing against ODM. So that's his wish. Whether it happens or not is a different thing. I think there'll be a lot of fireworks in Kiambu. I think there'll be a lot of fireworks in Nyeri. I mean, these things are coming. And I think sometimes it's best that you handle them one day then you start dealing with the problem at once.
All right, and speaking of fireworks, what do you make of all what's emerging now? The allegations of kidnapping, some say it's self-kidnapping, allegations of assassination attempts, and all of these are happening within the Wiper Party, I mean, within Jubilee Party, and especially in Kiambu County, as you mentioned, it will be a battleground for the Jubilee nominations. But it is setting a very dangerous precedence in terms of maintaining peace and order.
I think beyond taking it casually, is to pray that each candidate, each aspirant, places within themselves security mechanism to take care of themselves at a personal level, because these are Kenyans and they are family men, and there's a community that loves them and wants to support them. So there's a personal responsibility of taking care of yourself. Then secondly, is to know that you might want to gain sympathy by pulling certain acts. If that's the ploy, then some people are missing it, truly. Because I saw the bullet-ridden car of an aspirant of Kabete, in Kabete. And I'm not a forensic expert, yeah? But I remember sometime some years ago, there's a political candidate who said his car was bullet-ridden and people tried to assassinate him. And then the police were put on, and they looked into that and said, if these bullets passed where they passed, somebody
would have died.
Would have died.
Let's hold it there. We'll continue with this conversation, but let's bring